everyone, I'm going to show you how I do vector art now. We're going to take this photograph and we're going to turn it into digital vector art basically. And the first thing I want to do is create a new layer. I come over here to my layers palette and click on new layer. I think I'm going to name this eye. I tend to start with areas that I'm most familiar with, usually around the eye and nose area, and then I'll move my way down to the mouth. And same thing I do in street painting. I always start kind of with the top of the face and then work my way down. So I'm going to do the same thing here, which is what I'm comfortable with. I'm going to zoom in on the eye. She has a lot of texture in her eye. We are going to clean that up significantly with our vector lines and shapes. I'm going to come over here to this little pen tool. You can see if we click on that, we have pen tool, freeform pen tool, add anchor point tool, delete anchor point tool, and then convert point tool. We are going to start with the basic pen tool. And I'm going to, let's see, I think I'm going to leave it on this color actually. I think that'll work fine. I'm going to come over here. I just had the caps lock turned on. That's why we have the crosshairs here. If I turn caps lock off, you can see I actually have the pen. That's what I want. Now I'm basically just going to click points along the contour of the shape that I would like to make. What I would like to make is the eyelid. I'm going to start here in the corner of the eye. I'm going to click a point. I'm going to click in the center of the eye. When I click in the center of the eye, I'm going to drag before I pick that cursor up. So now I have these barbells on either side. I'm going to click again and drag just slightly. And again, and drag. Now I'm going to come up here and drag and create that curve of the inner lid. And I'm just going to continue around the eye, like so. Right there, and then I'm going to come close it. Before I click on this last square, I'm going to add my barbells, just like that. Now that I have the basic shape, is come over here to this little arrow. If I hold that down, you can see I have a path selection tool and I have a direct selection tool. I want the white arrow, direct selection tool. If I click on my little vector shape, this is what I have. I have all those anchor points that I created, and now I can adjust those. See that? By just dragging. Okay, now one thing to remember with these, the longer I pull this one, the more it's going to loop at the next point. So I want to try and keep these fairly short. If I want to create a dramatic curve, and of course I can extend them, but the more even we can keep all of these points, the better off we'll be. Okay, so we'll just kind of come around and make any adjustments that we need to make. Just like that. I'm going to move this one up just a bit. Right there. Okay, great. Now we have our top lid. If we decide we want to change the color, what we're going to do is come over here to our layer. Here's where the path is, in this gray box, and then this is the actual color. So we can double click on the color and we can adjust that. Now if you'd like, you can come over here and use your color picker on the actual photograph and pick the color that's there. I think that's pretty close to what we have, so that'll work great. Okay, now we have our eyelid. I'm going to come back over to my pen tool and I'm going to do my next shape. I think what I'm going to do now is the white of the eye, just like so. Now watch what happens. Because I'm trying to make this curve in fewer points, I'm extending these barbells quite a bit. So now if I was to make a point here, I get that crazy loop. Okay, I don't want that. I'm going to Command Z that. And I'm going to come right over here and close the curve. Just like that. Okay, now I can come in with my pen tool, or with my direct selection tool, and I can adjust this. Now I can take one side of the barbell and close that in a little bit. And that should be plenty. That's all we need for the white of the eye. I'm going to come over here and adjust the color. but somewhere in the blue range. About there. What we can do is turn this layer off, and we can actually look at the color of the photograph and choose something here, which is still in kind of the lavenders, so I think that'll work. Let's change the color on this to what we just selected there, and turn that back on. There we go. Now obviously we want the lid over the white of the eye, so we'll just move the white of the eye down, and we'll name it white of eye. Great. Okay, 2 steps done. Now I'm going to continue on and create that lower lid. To create the lower lid, I'm going to turn the white of the eye off. Okay, I'm going to come around and do very, oops, oh, let's delete that. Okay, I'm going to come around and create very short dumbbells. We just want a slight curve on our bottom lid. Okay, and even if you don't need as much curve as you're creating, we need to create these dumbbells anyway. We can adjust them and make the curve smaller later, but if we don't have these little dumbbells created on each point, what's going to happen is our vector shape is going to become, it's going to have hard edges, and we don't want that. We want everything to be very smooth. So these little dumbbells make this curve a much nicer transition. There we go. That's done. We can go to our points and make any adjustments we need. I think we were pretty right on to begin with, so I think that's okay. And now we will change the color of this, not the color of the white of the eye, but to the color of the top lid itself. And we will move that up over the white of the eye. So that's what we have now. Turn the white of the eye off, and what I'm going to do now, create this inner fleshy section of the eye. The quick little triangular shape, just like that. I'm going to click on this color, a very pink hue, just like that. Perfect. I'm going to move it under the lids, but over the white of the eye. Let's take a look at that. Now you can see this is still outlined with white. All I'm going to do is click on another layer that doesn't have that vector art on it. There we go. To finish up the inside of the eye, what I want to do is create a new layer over the white of the eye. Great. I'm going to turn the white of the eye off so we can see. Now instead of doing the pupil itself with the vector tool, I'm going to come up here and to my little marquee tool, I'm going to choose elliptical marquee, and holding down the shift key, I'm going to start in the corner of the eye. Holding down the shift key keeps a perfect circle, and I'm going to make a selection about the size of the center portion of the eye. Okay, that worked out just perfect. Usually if you start in a corner here and drag it on over, it'll be about right. I'm going to create the outside of the eye, which is usually much darker, so I'm going to choose the darkest color in the eye. Usually we have almost a black outline around the colored portion of our eye. So I'm going to fill with that. Go up to Edit, Fill, and I'm going to make sure it's on foreground color. Okay, we have our 2 boxes here full of color. If I choose foreground, it's going to choose this box that's on top. It's overlapping the blue one. Okay, the blue color here is our background color. So you can see we have foreground, background, color, etc. I want to choose foreground color and hit OK. Now that's filled. What I want to do now is create that inner color of the eye. So all I'm going to do is go up to Select, Modify, and I'm going to say Contract. Now what this is going to do is this is going to take the circle selection that we have and make it smaller. So I'm going to tell it to make it smaller by, let's try 3 pixels, and let's see what that does. Okay, that's perfect. That'll give me that outside liner, and then I can add a different color in the center. Let's choose a color from the center of the eye. I turn that layer off, so we have this nice taupe color, and let's say Edit Fill. Foreground color again. Perfect. I'm going to create a new circle for the center of the eye.